losses in Patna. There is a news that has come which says that caste census / survey is okay to be conducted in Bihar. There was initially there were parties which were dragging their feet, but Nitish Kumar, so much so he left the alliance with the BJP to go alone on this fight for the caste census in Bihar. And today Patna High Court has ratified, saying that this caste census or survey should continue. Earlier the contention was that this census which is being conducted should not be done by any state government because it's the prerogative of the center. But now Patna High Court has given clearance, and the interim report initially had raised objections, but the final report, the final verdict has come out. So Nitish Kumar, it's a vindication for him, and many would now say that he was right to demand caste census from its earlier alliance BJP, and notwithstanding, he left the alliance and joined hands with the RJD. Let's listen in to some reactions.
आज वो रेड पिटिशन डिसमिस कर दिया गया है और सरकार की जीत हुई है। अब बिहार में जाति जनगणना कंटिन्यू हो सकता है।
जी, सारी याचिकाएं डाली गई थी, क्या
सभी को डिसमिस कर दिया गया है।
तो आगे क्या अब आप लोग
अब इस ऑर्डर के अगेंस्ट हम लोग ऑनरेबल सुप्रीम कोर्ट मूव करेंगे। अभी रीजन कुछ भी डिक्टेट नहीं किया है, बस एक शब्द में बोला गया है कि पिटिशन डिसमिस कर दिया गया है। अब ऑर्डर अपलोड हो जाएगा बाय इवनिंग, उसके बाद हम लोग कारण देखेंगे कि आखिर किस कारण से रिजेक्ट किया गया है।
केवल एक लाइन जज साहब का था कि ये रीट याचिका खारिज की जाती है।
अब आगे आप लोग क्या
इसके अगेंस्ट हम लोग सुप्रीम कोर्ट जाएंगे।
सर, जो आपने रीजन दिया था 500 करोड़,
अब तो जजमेंट देखने की ही बात बताया जाएगी ना। जजमेंट तो देखे नहीं हम लोग।
जाति गणना जो बिहार की जनता की सामाजिक आकांक्षा, राजनीतिक तिक्रम करने वाले लोग जो जाति सर्वे को अपरोक्ष रूप से रोकने की खतरनाक साजिश कर रहे थे, लेकिन सच तो सच होता है। माननीय उच्च न्यायालय ने ये वैसे दूषित मंशा वाले की याचिका को निरस्त किया, जाति गणना का मार्ग प्रशस्त किया और माननीय मुख्यमंत्री नीतीश कुमार जी के द्वारा जाति गणना के संबंध में लिए गए निर्णय और कार्यक्रम ये भविष्य के लिए तो नजीर बिहार के लिए बनेगा ही, देश के दूसरे राज्यों के लिए भी नजीर बनेगा। और वैसे लोग जो जनगणना के भी पक्ष में नहीं है, आज सामाजिक आर्थिक गणना करके सर्वे करके बिहार एक नजीर पेश करेगा।
Well, so voices from Bihar obviously saying, Varghese, that it will become example for rest of the country, and JDU, needless to say, a happy lot today, and Nitish Kumar leading from the front there. Clearly, his views, his standpoint has been vindicated today, as Patna High Court has cleared the decks, has dismissed all the petitions against the caste census in Bihar. Ajay Kumar Jha joins us on the broadcast. Mr. Jha, thank you so much for speaking to us. Obviously,
thank you.
This development in Bihar, many were expecting actually, that something of this sort will happen, because Nitish Kumar, an astute politician as he is, when he jumped ship, citing this as one of the many reasons that BJP was not allowing the caste census to happen. In your learned opinion, sir, let us begin, legalities aside, let us begin with the political fallout of it first. How do you see this? A shot in the arm for Nitish Kumar?
Definitely. It's going to help Nitish Kumar in his opposition camp, where he was slightly disenchanted at his Bangalore meeting, came back a little dissatisfied after what he was expecting for himself. But now it is going to give him a lot of shot in his arm. And in the Bangalore meeting, I think it will help him immensely in the sense that the possibility of his being nominated as convener was being slightly relegated, but this High Court judgment is going to give a lot of credentials to his stand, what he is going to take in future. So I think it is going to help him in a big way.
Oh, very, I would say futuristic aspect that Mr. Jha has taken up, Varghese, and really in this coalition, many are saying, many critics are saying that it's also a coalition of one-upmanship. But this time around, with Nitish Kumar's stand being vindicated in the court, Varghese, how do you see it? And the next meeting, Bengaluru, we saw the meeting happen. That aside, talking about the southern, surge as far as these reservation and caste-based census or caste-based doles are, concerned. I think South India was actually, can we say, the cradle of these caste-based?
You see, the recent one has been in Karnataka, where the Congress, then led by Siddaramaiah, in 2015 had asked for a caste survey. Now, over here, I would like to see what the order would be from the Patna High Court, because the contention over here was that does the state have the prerogative to carry out with the census, which falls under the union government's.
Right.
So the wording was survey and census, probably, and popularly, we in the media try to call it as census because the intention is on that. But then the technicality of that wording, survey, was in fact used for understand the socio-economic factors is what you add to it. But then in South, it was actually you have the DMK also asking for a complete caste survey, and you have Siddaramaiah bringing out that issue from the Congress side in Karnataka, where he asked for a caste survey. He carried out with that caste survey in 2015, and probably in the recent days we are looking at the implementation by accepting the caste survey that was carried out in 2015, and probably change in policy structures. But after having said that, why is the caste census important? Well, the opposition camp, including the Congress, has been arguing that the 1931 survey is what we are still carrying. That is when we had Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, and the undivided British Raj, as we would call it. So we are based on that we are still continuing with our social economic factors. So that is why they said there needs to be an upgrade of it. Now, where does the BJP has been opposing it, but in certain places been neutral, trying to neutrally say that we shouldn't go for a caste census. But, and you rightly pointed out how he had to break the alliance also on the caste census factor. But here, one thing is there, Pankaj, that we have to see through is that there is politics in this. And the question that has emerged is that some of the information that was leaked in Karnataka was an eye-opener. Some of the dominant castes of that time, Lingayats, as well as you take a look at the other dominant caste, which is the Gaudas, they turned to be fewer in number, or rather less in representation as projected from that caste numbers. So you had the Kurubas, the SE block emerging as a huge around 20% is what that survey had put out, and then you had the Kuruba community coming out at 7%, and the Muslim community coming close second to the SE community at around 16.6%. So it had thrown out interesting numbers. So the fear is that the dominant caste might have a problem when the caste census, or rather the caste survey, is being conducted.
Right, you're right. I mean, Mr. Jha, help us understand here. What Varghese says, that obviously down south also this permutation and combination has been done quite a few times. And during the elections, if I'm not wrong, Varghese, during Karnataka elections which recently concluded, the vote, the percentage of the dole was increased. I mean, as far as the the reservations were concerned for backward communities.
Backward communities, and they try to also ensure that in Karnataka especially, they try to take it from the Muslim community and give it to the dominant communities as well, but later did not stick out because the court did find it as random. But the fact remains is that more policy decisions could be aimed at it, but with the political intention to actually reap benefits during an election. So see, though it is called caste survey, we all know that political parties would look at which community is dominant when it comes to
boo them, especially.
Mr.
Jha, how does it play out in Bihar? Caste census तो चलिए हरी झंडी मिल गई, नीतीश बाबू को इससे क्या फायदा दिखता है, या पूरे के पूरे प्रकरण में राजनीतिक परिदृश्य में किस तरह से, how does it change the whole political scenario, or does it at all?
For last several years, and for last several elections, we have seen that it has all been so crucially important for such elections, more because of the fact that democracy, if you see, democracy is all about demography. So this is how it has been panning out in this country. Every political party wants the dominant side to be by their side. This caste census, I can see is absolutely in the same direction, But then again, there are some valid reasons also, because it is understood that many OBC class people and then the scheduled caste, scheduled tribe people, they are not properly benefited. They have not been properly benefiting from government all the programs of different states and as well as the union government. But then these are the political part of political debates. But as a matter of fact, what has been happening is that in every state almost it is almost touching somewhere around 50%, somewhere it is even crossing over that in a different way, in a diluted manner. So I think okay, there will be debates wide open for every political party to just decipher what they could from such census results, but ultimately and eventually it is going to be a matter of political debate where every political party would try to win a score, to score a point that it is going to help the downtrodden class
People.
the society.
Right.
But then but the one question is there for me to simply just flag it out. Who, after all, has been the drivers? Actually, the governments. Why did government not why government was not in position to provide such benefits to those people who were not properly benefiting from government plans? So it was all the more the responsibility of previous governments and even the current governments everywhere in every state of this country that the fallouts of benefit have not been benefited to the downtrodden. Why? After all, if they have been, the basic concern is that this is going to help them in giving the benefits to the downtrodden people more and more, so that they would be able to fix up the point where those are the population chunks which have not been properly benefited, which is not. So now they can be given some more rewards for that. But then, okay, government has always been doing it. It has been doing it. So eventually, nothing more is going to come out of this. This is my own observation, own understanding of the whole thing.
Mr. Verghese, you wanted to ask
I
him
just
something?
wanted to add
Yes.
to Javan. He says that, of course, he's got a very big point saying that why, the question should be asked is that why you're going for a caste census now, and why did your previous policies actually fail? Why is it that you did not understand that it was not trickling down to those groups that you had those policies intentionally actually made? Now, that has resulted in the current politics, because that is what has resulted in this demand for a caste census, because the government knows that there is a vacuum that has to be taken into account. Now, I mean, we can debate which government or which parties were there during that time, but
Well,
then
in
right
Bihar
now,
there is only for the last 15 years one person.
one person was there, but the fact remains is that apparently now he's trying to move from an existing socio-base, socio-cultural political base that he's trying to in fact diversify that. But it's not in Bihar. Akhilesh Yadav had asked for a caste census in Uttar Pradesh. He's in fact pressing in for that caste census in Uttar Pradesh. I told you in Karnataka, of course, Siddaramaiah has carried out with that caste survey. There are other parties like the DMK is also pushing for, despite 67% of reservation being in Tamil Nadu, they are pushing in for a caste-based reservation, because I think nationally also they are trying to figure out as the dominant communities could be the section in the OBC section, and it goes against the grain of the existing current ruling party, because they've been trying to mobilize on Hindutva, and they don't want the caste factor to be a dividing factor. So you have the BJP actually being worried about it, and also facing a Mandal-like situation if they have to go by the caste census. So the caste census or the caste survey, as I would rather call, because when it comes to census with the union government, but when it comes to the caste survey, what it throws up is that as of now, as Mr. Jha was saying, that you would like to have the dominant community in demography. In democracy is about demography, so you want that dominant demography to be on your side.
Well, that's how it works, especially in Bihar. If Mr. Jha would also agree that when it comes to politics in Bihar, and I, by the way, Mr. Jha, come from the same state of Bihar, from Madhubani district, and I was just wondering that when caste census talks about giving the downtrodden and the poor and the backward classes all the amenities and maximum doles and support from the government, Do forward areas like Darbhanga, Madhubani to fall in the same category? Is it a same pattern that is applied everywhere, or there is a demographic divide and a geographic divide also when it comes to extending benefits from the government? Do you feel so?
Actually, when we are talking of, there are two sides which you have just raised. One is the zone, which particular zone is backward and which particular zone is a little bit upward, the backward category status. So it is not exactly like that. Darbhanga is largely the area, Darbhanga and all the Mithilanchal area. This is a very backward area in that sense. Even till date, things have not improved substantially as was expected. And this has happened in spite of the fact that earlier a lot of almost most of the chief ministers came from the from North Bihar side and from Mithila region also, and of course they have been the dominant supplier of chief minister candidatures and chief ministership kind of things. So, but in spite of all those things, those parts are not developed. In fact, as a matter of fact, even South Bihar is not particularly developed in that sense, but then the whole Bihar can be taken into that frame. But if we want to find out some category, which one is more developed in which particular sense, in sense of infrastructure, in sense of economic development, the parameters which are applied for the indicators of economic development, Bihar has been lagging behind much.
Bihar has been lagging behind. So, Jhaji, do you believe that Nitish Kumar has someone to blame for this? Because 15 years or more than that, he has been there. Now, his own governance benefits could not reach them. So, this time around, he wants to have a breakup that which particular community or caste is downtrodden or which is left behind, and hence caste census, caste survey, let me rephrase, would help them to understand it and then formulate the government policies. In your opinion, which particular areas or castes, if I may say so, have been left behind? Because I think for the last 10 to 15 years, Nitishji has been there and he has been working hard, as has been put, for the upliftment of the poor.
Nitishji's case is a little different and a little more. It requires a lot of understanding of the whole thing, because Nitish Kumar has been navigating both sides, NDA and this Mahagathbandhan, and now INDIA, whatever we can say, India or whatever. So, but as a matter of fact, what I am more concerned about is it is not basically actually opposition parties and those parties who are just opposing supporting caste census. I think they are misplaced in the sense that they are taking it in a different way. Earlier, when these things were being raised, even at the union level, the government was led by forward caste people. Now things have changed diametrically opposite. Now the governance at the central level is being led by people from OBC category. So the very question that the political parties who think to get benefit out of census, caste census, are really misplaced. Actually, they don't understand that even at the center, who they are going to fight against with. Actually, it is the central government. It is the Bhajpa governance with which they are fighting, and Bhajpa governance is being led by OBC category people. And not only that, even they are doing so much for the OBC people, for the scheduled caste, scheduled tribe people, and so I think there at the ground level, I don't think that this is going to give a kind of situation where Manda-like situation had emerged some time back when it was raised. That was a different time frame, in a different situation. So now the same kind of result would be milked out of it. I am very apprehensive of it. I have strong doubts about it. But then, okay, it is politics and it goes on, and there is an understanding that BJP always stands for the forward community and the others are always the backward community. But this is not the case. The case has changed entirely. But then the politics will go on.
Absolutely, I agree with you, Mr. Jha, and Varghese. I believe Mr. Jha also comes from the same Darbhanga Madhubani belt, if I am not wrong, Mr. Jha. Why I asked Mr. Jha, why I asked Mr. Jha this particular question about Darbhanga Madhubani. Varghese is from Kerala, sir, down south. That's why. But his understanding regarding the demography on the whole is much appreciated, and he holds a command there. That's why we have Varghese today on the show. My question to Mr. Jha was about Darbhanga and Madhubani. Now, these are, historically backward only, but then they are dominated by upper castes.
Okay.
Okay. Yet, for the when there was Lalu Raj and then Nitish Raj, in both the situations, these upper caste dominated areas also could not see that kind of development.
Okay.
So, likewise, so the irony is that you are comparing the backward with whom? Because even the forwards are backward.
Yeah, I understand what you're trying to say, but that is what I was also trying to, today when we were having one discussion in the morning on this, I was trying to say that, see, the caste survey per se is not about trying to, it is a data that they are collating. And it is, for me, in my opinion, it is mostly 70% for politics and 30% for social reforms. So it is more about politics than social reform that we are actually seeing. Because as you pointed out, in that area, as you was talking about, dominated by forward caste, the economic and social situation has not changed. I mean, in all these areas. So clearly, this is to actually influence voting patterns. That is the idea behind caste. When I was talking about Karnataka, I was talking about how the entire Siddaramaiah supporters or the Congress supporters have ensured that it is an Ahinda base. When I say Ahinda base, it consists of Muslims, Dalits, OBCs, and other minorities. So this is the kind of a base that they were looking at, and that's how they've been able to settle on it. And one of the dominant, the Vokaligas or the Lingaites were on their side. Similarly, there is a caste play, on the other side of the borders as well. When we look at Andhra Pradesh, or you look at Telangana as well, or in Tamil Nadu, though it is not very evident on the front, there is a caste play. And what we are looking at most of these caste census is to push to the fact that, as Mr. Jha was actually putting out that very interesting thing, why are other parties actually pushing for that caste factor? If they are pushing for caste factor for regional benefits and trying to counter the BJP's Hindutva politics, then the fact remains is that the BJP today has a lot of OBC leaders who are leading it. And even at the state level also, you have a lot of OBC leaders who are actually leading it. So does it actually benefit them to get into that OBC, pot? Because they seem to be ideologically being recruited completely into it. So if you're looking at a caste division that you're trying to prove, it is going to be, Mr. Jha's point is well taken, because it will be problematic. But still these parties are pushing for an OBC thing, thinking that the OBC category would be the dominant category across the country, and regionally also they would be able to pull it through in certain directions ideologically and politically. So at the end of the day, though we talk about the caste surveys as a way to bring them forward, I think it is mostly politics that is at play, rather than social reforms that they are planning to put.
Mr. Jha, final question before we wrap up from your side. A green signal to caste census, caste survey in Bihar, does it mean that it is once again solidifying the Labharthi politics in the state? We are going to see more of it in the days to come, because no political party would admit that it was their misgovernance who actually got these backward classes into the situation that they are in right now. So do you think Labharthi politics will get a boost with this? And secondly, do you see this thing spreading to other states as well in the country, caste survey?
Yes, first of all, we have to wait what comes out at the level of Supreme Court. But even if Supreme Court just goes for it, I think Labharthi politics has already now become a part of the politics today. And no political party is just abstaining from it. All political parties are going for Labharthi politics, and that is not wrong. In my sense, that should go, because if bureaucrats can get all the benefits of their services, if politicians get all the benefits of their services, why not the common people? In fact, the common people, at whatever category they may be, they need to get benefits, and the benefits in a real sense. But now the phony benefit what we normally get Okay, but I don't think but they are going to be of much help. So every political party we have seen in recent years, including BJP, has gone in a much stronger drive for giving Lavardi kind of programs and all that. And these programs are not new; they have been right since early times. Indira Gandhi had gone for it, and many thereafter it had become a general trend,
Right.
and rightly so, it should have been given. And even today, if, people are there in Bihar, and I will have no problem if all the people who are not benefiting, they should get all kinds of benefit from government programs. Which but the question lies, will they get it? Because in between there is a big chunk of bureaucratic
Red
setup,
tape,
which
yes.
does not allow, which does not let percolate all the programs which government actually plans to give it to them.
Is this a
So
Bihar
government-
specific case, sir, that you are mentioning, or generally on the
everywhere. Bihar,
right?
Actually, Bihar has been targeted very badly. I'm not for it, because the same case goes down the line up to the south. The caste divide, the politics of caste has been playing everywhere in every state. But unfortunately, I don't know for what particular reason Bihar has been tarnished for this caste kind of things in politics. In fact, every other state, take for example UP, take for example Karnataka, what my dear friend was also referring about. So Tamil Nadu itself, caste politics is a huge kind of thing which can be seen, perceived from anywhere. So it is everywhere in every part of this country, but Bihar anyway. But that is another thing. But what I am trying to emphasize is the caste is our phenomenon which we have to just negotiate with. But now then we will be leading to another debate with how far it is correct, how far it is. As a matter of fact, I don't think the caste is in fact some kind of vertical kind of things. As a matter of fact, it was horizontally divided. It was the caste were not for the sake of just viewing other group as lesser to a particular view.
Mr. Shah, I have to stop you. Amit Shah is speaking in Lok Sabha. The Home Minister, let's listen in.
श्री नित्यानंद राय महोदय, मैं विधेयक पुनर्स्थापित करता हूं।
मैं फिर आपको चेतावनी दे रहा हूं कि मुझे कुछ सदस्यों पे नाम करना पड़ेगा, नेम करना पड़ेगा। मैं आपको फिर चेतावनी दे रहा हूं कि अब सदन की गरिमा और मर्यादा बनाए रखने के लिए मुझे सदन में कार्रवाई करनी पड़ेगी। सदन की कार्रवाई 3 बजे तक के लिए स्थगित की जाती है।
ChatGPT. It can generate codes and human-like responses through text, write stories, and do a lot more.
I work in a newsroom with anchors, researchers and scriptwriters, graphic artists, producers, video editors, camera crew. But does a newsroom really need them today?
All of us have to think about unique